Howdy, and thanks for joining me here in Amarillo, Texas. Today we'll diagnose an air conditioning compressor that won't engage, and we'll do it using nothing more than a wiring diagram, a test light, and a multimeter. The first thing I do when something electrical stops working is make sure it's actually turned on. I've turned the key to run, set the climate control mode to AC, and the blower fan is on, but the compressor won't engage. Normally, I'd check the fuses at this point. Today, I'm deliberately doing that last because the focus of this video is how to trace and diagnose a circuit using a wiring diagram. Also, at the end of the video, I'll be demonstrating how to quickly check most automotive-type fuses with a power probe or a similar circuit tester. It makes it much easier to diagnose something if you understand how it works. So let's look at this wiring diagram to gain some insight on this system. The diagram you're looking at is for my 99 F350 diesel, but the diagnostic process applies to most vehicles. If you understand the wiring diagram, you have a basic understanding of how the system works, and you've got a pretty good chance of being able to diagnose a fault. Looking at the diagram, you can see the compressor clutch right here. It's labeled AC compressor clutch solenoid, but it could be called a coil, a field coil, or electromagnet. In the end, it is an electromagnet, and it just makes the compressor run. For the compressor to run, the coil needs both positive and ground. Our mission here is simply to figure out which one of those is missing and why. Let's trace the circuits going to it. One wire is black, and that's the ground circuit. The other wire's tan with a light green tracer. That's the circuit that carries battery voltage to actuate the clutch. Let's start by following the ground circuit from the connector, then we'll go to the truck and test it. So, from connector 163, the black ground wire goes through connector 1068, then through a splice, S180, and then it goes directly to the ground point, G108. These connector and splice locations can usually be found in the service manual, listed by the numbers and the diagrams. The pinouts for connectors are also normally available in the service manual. Here's a quick look at those, then let's go test the ground circuit at the vehicle. We saw on the diagram that the black wire from the compressor connector is the ground side. Let's test the circuit, starting with a test light. Since we'll be checking whether the ground side of the circuit is good, should we connect the test light to the ground or positive side of the battery? Yeah, that's right, positive, so we form a complete circuit. Shut the ignition off for now, then attach the lead to the positive battery post. Before using a test light, you should test the test light. Seriously, do it. Do it right now. Do it every time you use a test light. Touch the probe tip to the negative battery post and make sure the bulb works. Now disconnect the connector from the compressor and probe the black wire. It lights up, so we know we have continuity to ground, and the circuit will carry at least enough current to light a test lamp. Let's check next with a meter. If you're using an auto-ranging meter, which I hate, by the way, set it to DC volts. If your meter isn't auto-ranging, set it to a DC voltage range just over 12 volts, or many meters have a 20-volt range or a setting for common battery voltages. Make sure the positive lead is plugged into the voltage port, not the amperage port on the meter. Put the positive probe on the battery post and the negative probe on the black wire in the connector. What reading should we have here? Right, we should have battery voltage somewhere in the 12 volt range. And that's what it shows. Now we know the ground side of the circuit is good. So let's take another look at the wiring diagram. Going back to the compressor clutch connector, right here, we can see that the tan wire with the light green tracer comes from the connector and splits in two directions at splice 125. Following the lower path, the circuit continues through connector 1068, then to splice S117. It branches to the AC clutch diode on one leg, and on the other leg it goes to the powertrain control module, or PCM. Back at splice S125 again, the other path the circuit takes is to the refrigerant containment switch. That's also known as a high side switch. It'll open the circuit to prevent damage to the system if pressures become dangerously high. From there, a red and yellow wire goes to the AC cycling pressure switch. That's also known as a low side switch. That switch opens when the pressure in the system is low. Then there's a violet wire that heads to the mode selector switch in the dashboard. The mode selector switch is a pretty rare failure, so for the time being we'll assume the mode switch is working as it should. It's definitely possible for a pressure switch or the wiring at its connector to be faulty, so we'll check those now. First, let's test for voltage at the compressor connector itself. Turn the ignition on again and leave the connector disconnected from the compressor. We've already verified the ground circuit to the connector is good, so let's test for power at the connector by setting the meter for DC voltage and probing the connector itself. If the circuit is good, what should the voltage read at this point? Right, we expect to see about 12 volts here, but the reading is 0 volts. Let's also quickly verify that with a test light. And the test light doesn't light up either. We're making progress now. We've just verified that we lost battery voltage on the circuit somewhere upstream of the compressor. This is where diagnosis really begins. Moving away from the compressor, the high side switch is the next component in line where we might expect to see a failure. We'll check continuity through the high side switch, and then we'll see if we have voltage. Under normal conditions, this switch should be closed, allowing voltage to flow through it to energize the compressor clutch. Let's disconnect the wiring connector from the switch. Then, using a meter set to resistance or ohms, we'll take a reading across the switch pins. What resistance reading do you think we should see here? Yeah, I would expect 0 or close to 0 ohms. And the reading is very close to 0 ohms, so the switch is indeed closed. The ignition's still on, so change the meter setting back to volts and take a reading between the red wire with the yellow tracer at the connector and battery ground. And what voltage do you think we should see here? Right, 12 volts. But the reading's still 0. Let's check it with the test light too. And the test light doesn't light, so we haven't found the fault just yet. The low side switch is the next component in the power circuit. We'll check continuity through the low side switch, then we'll see if we have voltage. This switch should be closed under normal conditions, allowing power through it toward the compressor clutch. We'll go ahead and do the same steps here at the low side switch. We disconnect the switch and check resistance across the switch pins. What resistance would you expect to see through a switch? Yeah, again, close to 0. And it is. It's close to 0 ohms, and that's a good reading. Next, check for voltage on the violet wire in the connector. That's coming from the mode switch at the instrument panel. What should the voltage reading be here? Yeah, 12 volts. But the voltage reading is, again, 0, and we check it with a test light again. And the test light doesn't light up. So we'll go ahead and keep following the diagnostic process until we find the problem. Back at the diagram, let's move to the next possible trouble spot. We're already making the assumption that the mode switch is good, so following the white wire with the violet tracer toward the top left, there's a symbol for a fuse. It says it's in the central junction box, or CJB, and it's a 10 amp fuse in position number 24. In my truck, the central junction box is the fuse panel under the dashboard, so let's have a look at that now. This is fuse 24 right here. Let's pull the fuse and have a look at it. Just as we thought, the fuse is visibly burned out. It's important to keep in mind that fuses don't usually just blow for no reason. Replacing the fuse may restore operation, but if the fuse blows again, we need to look for the reason. That's a topic for a future video. So the end result was that the fuse is blown. Remember, this video wasn't about finding a problem fast. This was to show the process leading you down the right path to finding the fault. Let's go ahead and reconnect everything we disconnected, install a new fuse, and verify the problem is now resolved. Just to reiterate, the point of this video wasn't about fixing the problem as fast as possible. It was about demonstrating some basic diagnostic methods and starting to gain an understanding of how to read wiring diagrams and use them to our advantage. Also, especially when starting out on the learning path, it's important to have a routine to follow. As these become second nature, you'll develop an instinct for what type of test to use, where to start, and what the most likely points of failure are. So, thanks for joining me. I hope you learned something new. If you found this info helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and here's the quick fuse test I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This is the HWAUT P200 automotive circuit tester. I saw a review of it on a channel called the Gadgets playlist, and it looked like it could be very useful, so I ordered one. After using it a couple times, I think it's a great value. When I bought it, the total with shipping was under $40 US, and it has some really pretty cool testing functions. I'll be doing a complete demo in an upcoming video. For now, I'll demonstrate how to use it to quickly identify a blown fuse. This method will also work with the PowerProbe brand testers. Connect the tester to power and confirm it's set up to read DC voltage. Then it's as simple as probing the pin on each side of the fuse. The LED in the tool lights up to indicate whether it sees power or ground, and if the same color LED lights up on both sides of the fuse is good. If one side lights up red and the other green, the fuse is bad, and it's just that simple. I can test all of the fuses in this box in less time than it takes to find a wiring diagram. There, all done. The other wire's tan with a light green tracer. That's the circuit that carries battery voltage to The other wire's tan with a light green tracer, and that's the circuit that carries battery voltage to actuate the clutch. You son of a The other wire's tan with a light green tracer. That's the circuit that carries battery voltage to actuate. Let's get it right this time. The other wire is tan with a light green tracer, and that's the circuit that carries battery voltage to actuate the clutch. What the f***? Holy